All right, so we just went over your notes. You had to refresh my memory. Very nice that we were at Officer Richard's place. It was like mid-morning, and she wanted to head off to the beach and the boat. And I've got my new bicycle, and our plan when we left last was to go back to Siro's.
Yeah.
And I even brought up, just before we turned on the camera, do we want to go right back to Siro's? And you said he was so nice getting us, and he talked about us coming back, that would be a good thing to do. And I don't disagree. I agree. So let's see. Do we need anything on the way, or is it going to be simply a scene check using Mythic just to see, does anything interrupt or alter our trip there? That's it? Okay. Got it. Okay, nothing else needed. We know it's like 10 o'clock is what I'm picturing, like 10 a.m. All right. So if we're doing Mythic, it's just a 10-sided die. Our chaos factor is 5. Yep, we're still at 5. 8, so nothing happens. Had it been 5 or lower, we would have dealt with that. So we get there. So we know from when we first met Siro, first of all, it's like a garage / junkyard tech place. The very first time we went over there, which I know we've never had it on film, but we went up and could see like through a window on the door that he was laying down. That's when he'd been shot. So why don't you describe the approach as we're bicycling up? I picture us just bicycling up like into the business driveway. Do you have any other ideas?
So he was shocked.
Right, not shocked, stunned, but physically shocked and was unconscious.
Yeah.
We even
like
thought maybe dead. Right, and it turned out Joey did that. But so what all my deal is to picture the scene as we ride our bikes into the driveway of his garage / tech junkyard. We can see windows into the business.
And I'm picturing his garage to be not like a home garage, a business garage.
Got it. Do you think, we've never really, and maybe this is good, we can ask some fake questions right off. If you think so, unless logically you know, I pictured somehow that he lives like above that garage. So it is a business, but I can't see him living anywhere else, especially with him having stuff in there. So do we want to make it a fate deal, or do you also feel like he lives and works in this place?
I think he lives.
Okay, so we don't even need to roll. Mm-hmm. So I even picture that, I kind of picture him as short, slightly balding,
we said
needs a haircut, has a belly. We know he wears wife beaters sometimes because he did that. Wife beater's just a white tank top. Sorry, my slang from the police world is wife beater. Probably not very politically correct. If you like to wear those, that's totally fine. We'll call it a tank top.
Because I even
not
have
a crop
tank
top.
tops.
Yeah, not a crop top. If he was wearing that, it's a whole other thing with the belly out. So, but we didn't flesh him out too much even before, other than I'm picturing like thinning, balding, almost kind of like, I don't know, back in the 40s or 50s, they always kind of had that gas station attendant guy that was older and was kind of stains a little bit, single, he doesn't have a wife that's making sure he goes to bed on time or anything.
Get stressed, right?
Right, and he just lives in this shop. I even picture sometimes he falls asleep like in his chair at his desk. Yeah. I wouldn't even be surprised if there's both a mug of old coffee and maybe a bottle of some kind of bourbon nearby, I would imagine. But
beer man,
you think so? No, that's good.
We could roll for that.
Like a Schlitz. Well, no, that's fine. I think you're right on. So it's more like there's a bunch of cans, and we're still in the 80s, so they're not pop tops anymore. Yeah. Well, when do those change? Remember when it used to be you hooked the ring and pulled it, but then they were on the ground? All right.
I could hardly remember.
I know.
It with the,
I know. Well, yeah. Right. There used to even be the cans. They used to, I know from the Army days in Vietnam, they had to have a deal that punched holes in it, and then you drank it from the can that way. Okay. Either way, he's a beer guy. I like it. And like a cheap beer, like I was going to say Schlitz.
But not.
All right, just an inexpensive beer.
You've got a brother who loves Schlitz. So
oh, really? You like Schlitz? I didn't know that. Got it. All right, I'll tease him later.
All right, so
that's perfect, yes. I didn't know that. See, you have a very good memory, not as good as mine. All right, so we know he's kind of wearing that white tank top or sleeveless undershirt. He's slightly balding. He's got a belly. He's shorter. He's overweight. I even think it's still the 80s. I'm picturing like he smokes and doesn't clean the ashtray. I'm trying to get a feel for this office space. Do you think he's a smoker as well?
I think sometimes he puffs on a cigar.
Oh, okay. So less the chain smoking cigarette and more like a stogie now and then that's sitting in there. Okay, I like it.
He's got too much going on to be a chain smoker.
Got it. All right, Siro. Got it. So we've got a cigar. I'm just going to make notes. Cheap beer, unknown brand. We've got thinning, balding hair, tank top, white, and lives like in or above his commercial shop. Okay. And I would imagine us getting there at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. is probably pretty good. He may just be getting around. So I like that idea. All right. So I think maybe the simple start of our session here should be as we ride up and we kind of look through the window. Do we automatically see him? Like, is he just visible as we look through the windows? So I'm going to just go 50-50. Is it something where we got to ring, or do we knock, or can we just come in? But maybe we just see him inside. So 50-50, 50 or less is a yes, we see him inside. Are you thinking
You see
something
me
else?
hesitating?
Yeah, what are you
I
thinking?
don't see us as window peepers at that time.
Got it.
Only if we can't.
It's not
get
like this. Okay, so you think there's like a
Oh,
ringer?
you're picturing a big.
I'm kind of
picture
well,
window.
I think he would have either like a commercial door that has a glass window on it, because we saw him through that when he was knocked out, or the garage door's down, but you know, there's the windows looking into the garage door.
Yeah.
But maybe we're just ringing a bell, or maybe the door is unlocked because it's 10 a.m. So if you don't picture us just sneaking up, okay, so there's a
And
bell
then we
ring,
look if
but it
we
is a
can't
commercial
find
business.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking, do we just
Oh.
let ourselves in? It's 10 a.m., you know, and there's like a, you know, the bell when you open a door,
Sure.
it would go ding, ding, and
Let's
it would kind of
do
ring. Okay.
Yeah.
So how about this? Is the door open?
Okay.
You know, maybe it's locked at 10, and that would be odd. But 50, I think it's probably very likely that it's open.
Yes.
It's 10 a.m. He should be up, maybe even a near sure thing, 90%. 90% or less, the door's open. Ooh, 89. So it got close. So we were two-way, but yeah, we get there. We're just kids, park the bike off to the side. I don't throw mine down. I use the kickstand. It's brand new. So we go up and
It's a change for
yeah,
you.
it is. Yeah, normally I just dumped the bike on the side. There was no kickstand. Brand new bike, kind of the course has a kickstand, and I set it up. I think that means you're getting to his door first. I'm trailing in behind. You open the door, it opens in and jingle jangle. And then I'm just curious again. I want to know, like, how are we finding him? And I'm not sure, because we left him at a point where we had learned a ton of information. So as we come in, we know the door is open, which should mean he's present somewhere. Now he's got his back lot where he stores a lot of mechanical stuff. I was curious, can we use action subject to kind of flesh out what we think he's doing, or logically, do you have an idea of what he's doing? We can roll, or if you just feel like you know.
Well, I was thinking maybe he was even walking around the perimeter of the building.
Okay.
Just
I like
to make
it.
sure everything was okay and looking out at his
Okay.
junk.
So he's just walking his grounds, and maybe he hears
Hears
that
that.
bell.
Mhm.
So I'm imagining there's a door that probably leads into the back of the junkyard area. And so under that, what if we just, his intro to the scene is him coming through that back door?
Okay.
Got it. All right. So he comes in. I want to go to Une for a conversation. So this is, we've used this on occasion, and it helps with conversations that are going on. Now we know he likes us, but we don't know what he's going to be like in the morning. So there's an option here we can use. I'm going to get rid of hated, but I do want to use, it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes. It's going to give us a percentile roll of where he's at in terms of his mood. If you could just roll a single die, lower will be better for us here, or at least make him more in a positive mood. Ooh. So he's a little hostile. Yeah, coming in early, he's a little hostile. And if you could give me the percentile roll, that's going to give us like hostile and withdrawn, guarded, cautious, neutral, sociable.
Whoa.
He could still be all these things, but maybe he's not a morning or even an early or a late morning person. Or something could have gone on.
Something could have gone on.
Right.
It could have been the beer. We don't know.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
58. So as I come across hostile to 58, that puts him as both hostile and cautious.
Whoa.
So he's both hostile and cautious. Let me jot this down. So hostile and cautious. So if that's the case, how do you picture him if he's coming in through that back door? You said he was checking the perimeter. Could it mean that he's almost, it almost feels like, you know, he's a conspiracy theorist where he's like, I'm making sure nobody was in my back area while, or what do you think? Hostile and cautious, is that toward us? Or is he just, he's kind of like some of these guys are so into, almost like I picture like an old CIA agent. They've seen so much that everything's a possible scare.
And I'm thinking he's just here's the kids and says to him, hey, I'm glad you kept your word, glad you're here. But he's not warm and welcoming.
Got it.
It's just like.
Okay, and maybe I even picture like Crown sees he's nervous, so I'm like, you look scared, Siro. All right, I think because I just see him. He looks like he's like checking things and looking around. So I want to know what his bearing is. If you could roll again, we're going to roll percentile. And we'll roll it twice. Give me the first roll. We'll see. Ooh, that's a 3. So the zeros are the tens deal, and then that's just a 3. So we have a 3, and then if you could roll again, that's going to give us where these two things will intersect. 56. So we're going to look for 56 is actually down here, and we knew we had a 3. This says that inquisitive, so he's a little inquisitive and actually has questions for us. And we know he's hostile and cautious. So to me, that would be like, did anybody follow you? What about those feds? Did they follow you over here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I like it. So he's inquisitive but cautious. Since I asked the question, Crown's like, no, we didn't see hardly any cars over here. And I know what the FBI cars look like because the one time we were out at the lake there and we saw them with the thing, and I'm just like starting to run at the mouth a little bit. And so he's like, I don't know, what do you think? So I'm talking a little too much as a 10-year-old, like, and he still seems nervous.
I don't think it's that
okay.
big a deal.
All right. So how about focus?
I'm used to you talking.
Got it. Yeah, I haven't made the pit noise. Of course, I learned this from Siro.
Yeah.
Let's go one more. What is Siro's focus? If you can roll percentile again, this will tell us as I'm running at the mouth. No, we weren't followed. We didn't see anybody. 90.
What was the?
So his focus is power. And so that's real simple. I think he's asked us if we were followed by anybody, G-men or anything. He's like, you don't understand the power that these people have.
And I think you would say, too, how aware are you, really,
right.
Crown, of your environment?
Good point. You need to make sure you're watching your 6, which is just using like a military or even police term, which means your back. 6 o'clock, like on a bomber, or 6 o'clock is your rear. You need to make sure you're watching your 6. And then I think Crown says, I'm 10.
That was him.
Yeah, I'm 10. Anything.
And Phoenix is,
From Phoenix.
wait a minute, I don't know what a 6 is either. But
That's a good point. I don't think he's asking your age.
No.
Well, okay, so you're like, yeah, I'm like, hey, I don't know what it is, but I don't think he's that. I'm like, Siro, what do you mean check your 6?
Yeah.
So I think Siro would answer and just say, that just means I don't think you're paying attention if anybody's even behind you. You're just thinking for the forward.
Just come and see me, and
Okay.
that's it. Yeah.
So his focus
The
is
forward.
power. We know that the focus of him will be power, and he's a little paranoid and thought maybe we were followed. We're going to do one last deal for verb noun. So if you want to put followed and then power, and then we'll do one last thing, and that will tell us how the rest of this communication will go with Siro. So we need a verb and a noun. So if you could roll and just give me the 2
1
numbers.
or 2.
You roll both, and we'll do that again, and that'll give me the 2 numbers.
81.
81 is manage, and then roll again, and that'll give me the noun. Manage what? What are we managing? Wow, 90.
90.
Legends. Manage legends. So he's nervous, cautious, a little hostile. He was curious if we were followed. He's talking about power, the feds, and how we don't pay attention. And then he wants to manage legends. What do you think that is? I don't know.
So what does legends mean in that?
It can mean anything.
Mythical, or is it lists of things, like in a ledger?
That's exactly where I was between those two. Like legend, obviously, could be like more like a ledger, or it could be that there is if we're thinking, he is talking about being nervous and power. So it leans me more towards a mythical, the legend of, I don't know, the FBI always gets their man kind of thing. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It used to be the G-men would
Yeah.
get their man. So I think it makes me lean towards, again, we're looking at manage legends. Well, how do you manage people that always get their man? And I would imagine everything he's saying is that we, meaning Phoenix and Crown, need to be more alert to what's going on. That feels like managed
That's
legends.
all about that,
Right.
because
So I think he's, and we run into people, at least I have, that are in that paranoid state where they think everybody is watching them, which can't be the case. But in Siro's deal, there's probably a nugget of, I think he's gone over the wire a little
Yeah.
too long, but I think there's a little bit of truth to it. So that's it. We've got this guy he's a little bit cautious, hostile, nervous about if we checked our 6. He's talking about power and the legend, manage the legend, and how do you've got to be more aware, more situationally aware. I can't believe that they haven't already found Joey at your place. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So, and I think it's
really
like
worried
real
now.
early. Yeah, this guy's wired tight. So Crown's a little bit like,
I could just see him.
I think I'm going to open this with Crown's like, I did get a new bike. Because he doesn't even know what to say. It's fast. All right. To Phoenix then. What say Phoenix?
Phoenix wants to know why he wanted them to come over and talk to him further
Good
today
point.
anyway.
So you're driving
Before she
right to
gets
the
him.
point.
Yeah.
You wanted us to come over. It definitely seems like he's so far into something that the time he's had to think about it has just made him more nervous, but almost nervous for us is what I'm feeling from this interaction.
Because he,
Like, did you check your 6?
like that Blue Star parent thing.
Yeah, the legend, right? We had that blue star. That's a good point. Like, so, how about this? Before he gets down to the nitty gritty, what if he gives us a couple tips on how we should? He's already told us check your 6. What if he has this like serious moment where he's telling us what to watch out for, or no? No, all right.
We could check.
All right, let's
That'd be a
check. But
good
you
thing
don't
to
think
check.
so. I like it. You don't think so, so that's good. why don't we go with it's no way that he's going to immediately start giving us like tradecraft on how you sneak around. So that would be 15 or less if he goes down that rabbit hole. But so 15 or less, he starts to go into like tradecraft. Woo! One. Not only 3 or less would have been not only yes, but heck yes. So the dice have spoken. He is at that paranoid state. He starts to...
And she can't break through it.
Right, but I think you'll be the one... Yeah, I think Crown's kind of like...
She doesn't know it's called paranoia, but
Right.
she knows he's beating around. She wants She wants to know why he wants them there. She doesn't want to worry about his stuff.
Perfect. So I think here's what he does real quick. So here's a little bit of like vomiting of safety stuff from Siro. When you go home, you take multiple different routes that you know, and no route the same twice. You break that down and you're always checking. You double back on your loop.
Dang.
You double back just to make sure that nobody's picked up a tail. Second, before you leave, you pluck a hair from your head. You place that in that door of that little secret area, and if that's disturbed, you know somebody's been there while you were gone. And then Crown goes, is that why you don't have too much hair? Came to me that Crown would be looking at his hair missing and think, maybe that's why he's thinning. I like it. So I think Phoenix maybe
wouldn't laugh. She would
you don't think so? She might.
I think she'd just look at him like.
All right. I think Siro's like, what?
She's still worried about this thing that she's seeing Siro spinning through. You know.
Got it. I think Siro's like, what? And he immediately like has a little bit of a comb over thing that he moves, and he was like, you said you plucked the hair. Is that why? I think he's legit.
She gives him.
Yeah.
I think she gives him a kick.
All right. He's like, what?
Just like a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. He can't be subtle. What?
He's off. He's off.
All right.
He wanted to see us, and
it's a good tip, though. I didn't know. How nervous is he? The good thing is maybe that pulls. How about this? Do a 50-50. Does that pull Siro out of his vomiting of too much nervous tradecraft? How about 50-50? 50 or less, yes, that pulls
the
him
hair
out.
thing?
Yeah, like, and realizing he went a little too far.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, is that why you lost all your hair?
I like that.
All right. Ooh. So that's a no. That doesn't pull him out.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, because we were 50-50. Does that pull him out? So he says, no, that has to do with old age. If you don't have a hair, though, you could use like a piece of thread from your clothing. You could have a paper clip that you open up and set in there. Just something they won't notice, so it's disturbed. You know they've been in there, or they're waiting for you inside. I'm going to kick it to Phoenix because I don't know what to say to
I
this.
know what Phoenix is thinking inside.
What?
She's thinking, I'm worried about something. I'm worried that he's going to have us separate, and this is my buddy, so he's not going to want us to travel in twos anymore because we're more noticeable in twos. So how am I going to get this thing moving so that we don't have that happen? Yeah.
So you're wanting to shift. You've recognized that he's kind of in a feedback loop.
Yeah.
Me asking if that's why he doesn't have much hair didn't break him out. You're thinking of
some.
A little bit, okay. But he went to like other options.
Yeah.
So how would Phoenix, what do you think would break him out of this feedback loop? I think he has reasons to be paranoid. The problem is he's sharing tradecraft with a 14 and a 10-year-old.
Yeah, and he really wants information. So
Good point.
I think it's up to Phoenix to say, again, you wanted us here. You asked us to please come today, and we're here. What do you want to know from us?
Perfect. I think that's got to be, I think you resetting why he wanted us to return. I think that's got to work. Let's just check. Just because he's been kind of almost manic.
Yeah.
Let's go with there's no way that doesn't work, but that still means 15 or less that he's still...
Surface low.
Yeah, when we've been rolling low. Let's see. Let's let the dice determine. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
56. So that works. Good. So I think he shakes it off a little bit. I think he says, pull up a chair, Let's talk. Okay. So we still know he's in that cautious, guarded environment. We still know that managed legends, and he wants to talk to us. We know you asked tons of great questions of Joey. They were, I can't remember all of them, but you had like, you know, you and Siro knew each other before. Yes. Is Siro, what, did you know he was after you? Yes. Everything was a yes.
Yes. So that I thought he was broken.
Right. Until I said, he said he could make the noise. And I said, see, he can't. And then you were like, he makes some kind of air noise that matches it.
And he did.
And then I was like, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's good. We know there's all this back history. You can ask yes, no questions, and you have Ciro's attention now. I guess the questions might be, Phoenix had all those great questions for Joey. How about you apply questions to Siro who can answer more than just yes, no? And we can maybe get some of these secrets from Siro.
Except he wanted to talk to us.
True. But in between that time, you found out some information. And so we can do both. Siro clearly wants to talk to us. Maybe you don't have any questions for him, and you keep all the stuff you learned from Joey close to the vest, which is fine. So let's go with
Wait till
okay, you want to
Siro
hold that
might
back.
ask something.
Okay, so let me find out. If Ciro's going to share something with us, let's go with action subject to see what it is. So we've got 60, which is abuse. Okay, sounds good. He wants to talk to us something about abuse, and under subject we have 57. 57 is tactics. Okay, well, oddly, that definitely seems to fit in with managed legends, power. So he's talking about abuse and tactics. My thinking, and you can throw this out or modify it, is that he did not turn us in. He didn't tell the powers that be that we had Joey. He could have done that like this. He already told us he was friends with you. So if he wanted us to come back and he wants to talk about abuse and tactics, it's got to be how these folks operate and how they abuse the system, is what I would get. And he was one of those that did these things. So he's speaking from first person. So if he's talking about abuse and tactics, let's step out and go logically. What would again, this is alternate history, 1980s. We know it's something fed. And we know that there was this is a sentient robotic being of Joey, even though he's a robot. And we knew from Joey that they wanted him to do something that was going to disrupt the Eisenhower, the Hoover Dam.
Hoover Dam.
I went with a different president. The Hoover Dam. Sorry.
Is that right?
Yeah. So